Welcome, friend,
to the How-To Heretic.
I'm Uncle Mark.
I'm Uncle Dan.
And I'm Uncle Doug.
And this is your user's guide to life on the outside.
That's right. Leaving religion is the first step into a larger, better world.
But it can also be a scary world. Things work differently now.
Never fear. That's why we're here.
We're your audio uncles. And with help from good friends and experts in all sorts of fields.
We're going to share the stories and seek the knowledge to build a great life.
After all, you only get one that we know of, so you'd better make the most of it.
Guys.
Oh, hey, you startled me there.
How's it going?
It's going.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm just feeling peachy.
Yeah, what a week, huh? What a great week to have some laughs. So let's have some laughs. Doug, you're going to tell us a thing or two.
Well, I'm going to sing a song about what sex smelled like 2,000 years ago.
Hey.
Yes, you are.
I will not be listening to that part of the podcast. And
well over 2,000 years, I will point out.
Yes.
And
it gets better with age.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give too much away, but I am going to push our luck. Let me just say that. Yeah.
Yes, it's true. And I am going to terrify the other two uncles once again by making them talk about something that they're a little reticent to talk about.
Because it's so part of our identity, Dan. That's
I know, right? It's a thing that we recorded a while back, and we just decided now to sort of bring it in. It feels germane. We're going to talk about masculinity and the toxicity thereof.
And it seems kind of apt given the news of the day.
So don't be too afraid. It's going to be fine. All you fellers out there who feel put upon, you'll be okay. We're gonna hold hands and get through this together.
We're going to get through it. So episode 98, here we come. Let's roll. Dan.
Oh, yes. Hello. I'm here.
You like music, don't you?
I mean, on occasion, I enjoy. You know what I like more than music?
Tell me.
Is poetry.
Yeah. I like a good story song.
Well,
like
here's the problem,
Queensryche.
Here's the problem, fellers.
Yeah.
What we're going to talk about today has no music and certainly no poetry to it.
Shit.
Well, why did you
where you
interrupt
guys are
this
headed.
very important conversation, Dan and I?
Well, get back to it then.
Well, we were just talking. We were going to start talking about Queensryche, and I was going to start from the very beginning of their whole catalog. But fine. What do you want to
until you
talk
get to Silent Lucidity? Is that their song?
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Oh yeah, that's
that's
what you bring it home with.
That's right.
Yeah. But go ahead, Doug. Let's talk about what you want to talk about.
Oh, fine. Fine.
You interrupt our side project of the Queensryche pod. Go ahead.
Queen's talk.
Reich Talk. No, that's a different one.
Nope, that's our side project.
Yikes.
Well, the idea for my segment today comes from listener Julie, who asked if I could break down the Song of Solomon like we did Leviticus and Revelation in episodes past.
Oh boy.
And I just have to ask listener Julie, what did I ever do to you? I mean,
what do you mean? That's the sexy one, right?
I mean, well, this is far better than...
Julie's sending you some messages.
That might be... Boy, I missed that. I mean, this is
how people who joke about the Bible hit on each other, I guess. So.
This is better than having to do research on some shitty Mormon history or a bloody end to a cult somewhere. But just like having all of your body hair waxed off by an angry Belarusian is better than being burned alive, that doesn't mean it's pleasant.
What do you have against being burned alive?
Individual results may vary.
I was actually thinking about this. I was going to save it for Valentine's Day to be a little more topical, but with the unspeakably terrible news out there in the world right now, I figured we could all enjoy the unique escapism that is making fun of the Bible.
Yes.
So today we will pick apart all of the intentional and unintentional double entendre that is the Song of Solomon. So we'll get into this, but this fucking book, it's like your grandmother trying to describe porn to you in real time without using any sexually explicit adjectives. Clocking in at a merciful 8 chapters, it adheres very well to Uncle Doug's first rule of the Bible: shorter is better.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is a weird book, but on the scale of weird that most of the rest of the Bible aspires to, it's actually pretty tame.
Yeah.
It's unique in the Bible in that there is no mention of God, no laws, no wisdom, just a whole lot of not-so-sexy talk.
Yeah, buddy.
It's mostly a conversation between two lovers, a male of which is thought to be possibly Solomon, or not, depending on who you talk to, because it was probably written centuries after Solomon existed, if he existed.
Right.
Its inclusion in the modern Bible has been a little problematic. It's much more important in Jewish tradition than it is in Christianity. It is read on whole during the Sabbath, during Passover, and some verses are read on Shabbat Eve. So
Really?
in Jewish tradition, it's actually kind of meaningful. It's really meaningful in Kabbalah. But in Christian tradition, it's really kind of been a problem. Most Jews claim it's an allegory of the relationship between God and Israel, and Christians claim it's an allegory of the relationship between Christ and the church.
Now, hold on just a little bit.
I know where you're going.
I know a little bit about the history of God and Israel. You know? It has not been a love song.
Now, wait a minute.
Exactly.
The thing that I know about the history of God and Israel is somebody's getting fucked. So, frankly, it seems right.
That's one way of looking at it.
It was a poor pairing.
Well, exactly. Like you said, Uncle Mark, the entirety of the Old Testament, especially, God is ranting and raving about how he wants to do harm to Israel.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense that in one 8-chapter book in the middle of the Bible he would change his mind.
Right.
I guess unless he was bipolar, but you know.
But what other evidence could we possibly supply for that theory?
Except for the rest of the Bible.
Right.
And then this is a very sexually charged book. So if the relationship between God and his church is sexually charged, I guess that makes sense too now that I think about it. So if this book was meant to describe a relationship between the creator and its creation, it definitely does not say so in the book at all. And if there is some complex and beautiful poetry going on here, it is most definitely lost in translation. So, we will be returning to the King James Version of the Bible for today's reading.
Okay.
Because just
Feels
like all
like
those
coming
times,
home. Yeah.
just like all those times you respond to a drunk text from an ex, I can't quit you, KJV. I looked at a couple other versions, but no one manages to capture how much sex must have sucked in Bronze Age Palestine, quite like the KJV. So, here we go. Chapter 1 begins with the immortal words of Anne Elk, the Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. And right out of... one person's laughing.
Yeah, I got that.
Right out of the gate, we're into the good stuff. Quote, let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for thy love is better than wine, because the savor of thy good ointments, thy name is an ointment poured forth, therefore do the virgins love thee.
I think there were a lot of really dry skin issues and a lot of rashes. Ointment is incredibly important in these narratives.
I feel like all you have to do is update it with you change the word ointment to Axe body spray, and you've got the modern version.
So, also, every time I say the word lover, I want you to hear it in the voice of Will Ferrell in that SNL skit with Rachel Dratch.
Oh, yes.
Lover. All right, verses 5 and 6 are the reason you will never hear this book quoted in a manifesto on 8chan. Quote, I am black but comely, and look not upon me, for I am black, because the sun hath looked upon me.
Okay.
All right.
Great. Yeah, that's all standard stuff so far. I love it.
Right.
Everything is up to snuff.
Yeah. There are a lot of comparisons in this book, with each person comparing their lover to, or some anatomical feature of their lover to something wholly unrelated. Like, for example, I have compared thee, O my love, to a company of horses. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Strong, I guess.
Wow.
I do remember this passage from this chapter when I was a kid. Quote, a bundle of myrrh is my well-beloved unto thee. He shall lie all night betwixt my breasts.
Yes.
Yes.
Myrrh. I want to be a bundle of myrrh.
Did you get a weird Mormon Bible boner from that? Because that's as close as we were ever going to come to pornography.
Mark, every one of my boners was weird back then. Chapter 2 is mostly platitudes between the two lovers, but there are a couple of references you'll recognize. Verse 1 says, I am the rose of Sharon and the lily of the valleys.
Okay.
Verse 12, quote, the flowers appear on the earth, the the time of the singing of birds is come, and the voice of the turtle is heard in our land. So exactly how long has Mitch McConnell been in Congress?
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing as beautiful and poetic as the voice of the turtle.
Of a turtle.
Although, can I just say, actually, that just to appease the pedants out there, turtle in the King James Version usually referred to a turtle dove.
I know, but
I know.
It's way better.
It's better if it's a turtle.
It is better if it's a turtle.
No. The judges say it's better if it's a turtle. Go on.
And the ruling has been made.
In verse 15 we get, quote, "Take us the foxes, the little foxes that spoil the vines, for our vines have tender grapes." Now, this book comes well after the book of Judges, which features the exploits of Samson that you two talked about in episode 21.
Yes, terrific idiot.
But apparently foxes in biblical times were either a petty nuisance or a potential weapon of mass destruction.
Yes. I will say this, though. I do have tender grapes. I know what that feels like, so I want to keep foxes away from them.
This is the book for you, Uncle Dan.
Especially in this heat.
Yeah, exactly. Again, the Bible's infatuation with birds, foxes, and ointments was not something I remember being taught in church.
But it does seem like it should be the emphasis of every Christian church in the world.
Right. Chapter 3 begins with our young, horny protagonist unable to locate her lover, causing her to wander the streets and ask the local police if they have seen him. This puts a big hole in the story because a black woman actively approaching the police for help? I don't think so.
Yeah. It was a different time.
Yeah, right. Eventually, she finds her lover and drags him back into her mother's bedroom, the very room she was conceived in, to fuck him.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
If a seemingly drunk person finds you on the street and tries to drag you into the bedroom where they were conceived, let me tell you from experience, get the fuck out. Okay?
It works out 4 out of 5 times.
Once bitten, twice shy. Okay, suddenly the narrative goes on to describe her lover and his bed. He is perfumed with myrrh, frankincense, and all the powders of the merchant, which, and this is true, are the exact ingredients of the aforementioned Axe body spray.
By the way, if you want, remember that we are sponsored this week by Merchant Powders. So please,
that's right.
Please go to our website to find a place where you
Merchant Powders,
a portal to buy some
for all your stink needs.
Merchant Powders. It's the burning, it's the itching.
She goes on to describe his bed, which is made of the cedars of Lebanon. The bedposts are silver and gold.
Ooh, gold!
Oh, no. This is a tacky motherfucker, whoever this guy is.
Yeah, exactly. And the sheets are purple. The bed is
and he
surrounded
smells
by
like curry.
I know. Actually, you know what? Sheets are purple. That's a big deal because purple was the rarest of the dyes. So
right.
So what we're talking about is a very expensive bed.
We're talking about a pretty, over-the-top bed.
She's with a playa.
Trumpian bed.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's surrounded by 60 armed guards because her lover apparently was a West Coast rapper from the mid-1990s.
Right.
So, now these 60 guards, quote, all hold swords, being expert in war, every man hath his sword upon his thigh of fear in the night. Today we call that bukkake.
Hey-o.
He takes over the narrative in chapter 4 and begins describing her beauty. Now, depending on your mood, he is either trying and failing to put her unparalleled beauty into words, or he is accurately describing the monster from the end of the movie The Thing. Because here's the description. Her eyes are like those of a bird. Her hair is like a flock of goats. Her teeth are like 2 recently shorn sheep.
What? Her teeth?
The sides of her face are like pomegranates. Her neck looks like an armory.
What?
And her breasts are like 2 gazelles. Her mouth and tongue are like milk and honey, and she smells like Lebanon.
Okay. I mean, great.
I'm sure Lebanon smells wonderful, but the rest of that is a nightmarish chimera exactly from The Thing.
Doesn't that just put you in the mood?
Ooh, she got a great set of gazelles.
I know. And the thing is, there are things you could use to describe breasts
or teeth.
Two horned, like grass-eating mammals.
Right.
Yeah. Or
in fairness, gazelles are perky.
And fast, I guess. I don't know much about breasts, guys.
Yes, all right. Speed is what you're going for when you're going for breasts.
Luckily, 2 of the 3 uncles are aficionados.
I'm looking for a fast tit. Okay, that's what I'm in the market for here. I don't care about your pomegranates or your sheep teeth. I want a nimble
tit.
A
speedy bosom.
Yes.
Okay, finally, and for the rest of this chapter, we get some sexy talk with our male lover saying things like, quote, "Awake, O north wind, and come thou south, blow upon my garden, that the spices thereof may flow out. Let my beloved come into his garden and eat his pleasant fruits."
How can a teenager get through this? How could a teenage kid get through this fucking book?
It's not.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the J.C. Penney catalog of the Bible.
Yeah, the Penthouse Forum really sucked in this iteration.
Well, it's also just so hilarious. Like the metaphors, aside from being terribly bad and not attractive, are just hilarious.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Come blow on my garden. Come on.
So, hey, uncles.
Okay.
Do you ever wish that Pornhub came with a scent feature?
Nope.
No,
Definitely not.
100% zero no.
The guys who wrote this book sure wish it did. There is a near constant description of how his lover smells. And what does she smell like? Well, spikenard and saffron, calamus and cinnamon with all the trees of frankincense, myrrh and aloes with all the chief spices.
Yeah.
So I am sure all those things smell good in isolation, but I can't speak to what synergy is achieved by mixing them all together in the desert heat.
I mean, I've eaten Indian food. I think I know what that smells like.
I think I know what it smells like the next day.
Yeah, exactly. She smells like a vindaloo. Which is very fragrant, but in a meal. Not so much a lover, methinks.
It's gazelle coconut korma.
With pomegranate and sheep teeth.
So Chapter 5 transfers the narrative back to her perspective, and what is maybe the most accurate part of the Bible I have ever read. The moment the sex is over, he is out of there. She wakes up and can't find him, so she once again takes to the streets to retrieve him. She once again approaches the cops, and this time they immediately beat her and rob her. So she might be black after all.
I like that for some reason the cops seem to be the best authority on this dude's whereabouts. Like, what's that backstory? Why do the cops know so much about this guy?
Well, it also feels a little like, I mean, we've all seen episodes of the show Cops where this lady's like, my boyfriend is missing. He was in the bed and now he's gone, and I think the aliens got him, or maybe I think some other people might have done something.
Exactly. This book reads like the transcript of Cops in Albuquerque.
This woman is on. This woman has been smoking her myrrh. Is what's happening.
So she gets beat up. She gets robbed. She then goes on. That kind of ends. Then she goes on to describe him, and I swear to God, if I didn't know better, I would think she was describing C-3PO. His hands are gold and beryl. His belly is bright ivory overlaid with sapphires, and his legs are marble pillars upon sockets of fine gold.
Okay.
Yeah, that's C-3PO.
Forget about helicopters in the Book of Revelation. C-3PO's in the Song of Solomon.
And he is well versed in over 6 million forms of communication.
As we all know, C-3PO is a very fragrant and aggressive lover. Well known to the police as well.
Yes, indeed.
Chapter 6 is kind of a mess of shifting perspectives. First, it is the daughters of Zion lamenting that she cannot find her lover. Then she points out that he's going to call. Totally, he'll call, right? He wouldn't just tap it and bounce, right? He goes on to give another description of her beauty and fails. And then all of the 60 queens and the 80 concubines and virgins go on to describe her beauty. Where did they come from? Fuck you.
Shut up.
So,
well, I mean, if it is Solomon, he had concubines and brides to spare.
Exactly.
So not a problem.
So, however, listen to how they describe her in verse 10. Quote, "Who is she that looketh forth as the morning, fair as the moon, clear as the sun, and terrible as an army with banners?" That's pretty good. Like, it's better than having sheep teeth and pomegranate head.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it sounds a little scary, but it's okay.
She goes on to say, quote, "I went down into the garden of nuts to see the fruits of the valley."
She can come to my garden and
nuts. What I love, do you guys know this? I get emails about this, that there are young Mormon kids that listen to our podcast in seminary.
Oh my God.
What?
Yes, there are young Mormon kids. There's more than a couple that have said they listen to this pod, which, first of all, that gives me fucking life. But
yes,
also, how do they get through some of these segments? You guys write in and tell us. Like,
Yeah, I mean, from now on, I'm going to call every scrotum a garden of nuts.
Yep.
Yep.
Because you talk about every scrotum all the time.
It's kind of my thing.
It
If
is
I'm
kind
known
of
for
your thing.
something,
Yeah.
it's all my scrotum talk. Chapter 7 is one long drunk text about how hot she is. Again, her boobs are either gazelles or a cluster of grapes.
Well,
cluster.
Closer. I mean, grapes.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I think we're on the right track.
If your breasts are a cluster of grapes, you need to get to the doctor.
Yeah.
Her eyes are fish pools, and apparently she has a rather large nose. So,
Oh, well, that's well, I mean, she has to smell all of the things that she smells,
all the ointments.
various and sundry.
this brings us mercifully to chapter 8, which is a weird chapter. It starts with the female lover wishing that her lover was like her brother because he has sucked on the breasts of her mother.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I have to go to therapy now.
Yeah, really. She goes on to say, quote, she would...
Although that is an entire section of Pornhub, I will say.
I totally-
that is its own. That has its own section right
Exactly.
there.
She goes on to say that she would cause thee to drink of spiced wine of the juice of my pomegranate. Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah,
is that
I think we know.
also a
we know
Pornhub
what
category.
That's a
You're-
reference to.
You're just getting your antioxidants, and I don't think that's a bad idea.
No, I will have to say, since you're in chapter 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite scriptures as a young devious little Mormon was 8 verse 8, which I would send to which I would tease my sister with, because it is something about, we have a little sister and she hath no breasts.
Yeah.
What shall we do for our sister? And blah blah blah.
no.
Anyway,
What should we do for our sister in the day when she shall be spoken for?
yeah.
Like,
Aw,
what?
She doesn't have any boobies,
Well-
so I guess she's worthless.
I know.
Oh, she's
Throw her
unsellable as
away.
a child bride. Is that it?
That's right.
Wow.
Yep, that's the idea.
Yeah.
Thanks for the morality, Bible.
There are a couple really pretty lines peppered here and there in this chapter. Quote, "For love is strong as death, jealousy is cruel as the grave, and many waters cannot quench love, neither can the floods drown it." So that's nice.
Yeah. Okay.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. The whole thing wraps up with the two lovers calling to each other to make haste, and that is the end of that. So, just a little coda. The book itself has a pretty profound effect on our culture, inspiring artists from Bach to Toni Morrison to John Steinbeck to Kate Bush. Most of the interest, I think, is in the fact that for 8 merciful chapters, the Bible is actually focusing on two people who care about each other.
Right. Yes.
I mean, it's a weird relationship, but yes, it's not very traditional.
It's a little dysfunctional and perhaps overpowering olfactorially.
Yeah.
And the police are obviously responding to their house frequently.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And boy, does that place stink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's 8 chapters. There's no judgment. There's no condemnation. There's just two people really in love. And there's the Song of Solomon.
Well, and we should point out that as I don't know if you guys heard this, but growing up Mormon, this was the one that this whole book was the one that Joseph Smith said was the uninspired book of the Bible.
Right.
Really?
Which is ironic because this book was written for him.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That really? I didn't realize he said that.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
wonder-
nobody participates in gazelles like he did.
I wonder what the point of keeping it in was, Doug. I mean,
Well,
what
that's the problem, right? Like,
Yeah.
every time we discover something new in science, we go out there and we reprint all the science textbooks.
Yeah.
Every time something in the Bible is shown to be either, counterproductive like this or downright evil, they leave it in. They can't take it out.
Are you saying that the Nicene group, what are they called? The guys
council.
in
Yeah.
the Council of Nicaea, are you saying that they got something wrong? Because how dare you?
Hot take.
Right?
Yeah. Well, this is a first.
Yeah,
Cracked
exactly.
it
No.
wide open, fellas. There is something wrong with the Bible. Can't believe it. So I'm glad we finally found it. And
Yeah,
it's
well-
that there is love. So,
Right, yeah, exactly. It is the existence of pleasurable sex.
well, with that smelly nonsense over, let's move on.
Uncle Dan.
Yes, hello. Hi.
3, 4. How are you?
Oh.
2, 3, 4.
And step, touch, and
I just
back
can't. I
together.
can't have more than 4 seconds of silence in my life, where I'm terrified of what might happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's reasonable.
He claws his own eyes out at 5 seconds. So just
Which is, yeah, exactly.
Once bitten, twice shy.
All I can say is if there are any cats or mirrors around, hide them right now, because we're about to dive into something. Uncle Mark, what are we going to talk about today?
We're about to get pretty fucking real, boys. And,
Okay.
And
Is this a very special episode?
On a very special.
This is a very special episode of the How to Heretic, as you will see. So I got to thinking.
By the way, that phrase is 80s for someone's going to be addicted to something.
Oh yeah, there's
That's right.
There's on YouTube. There's a channel of very special episodes.
Oh, really?
And they do synopses of all those 80s sitcoms that had a very special.
Is that
episode.
true?
Yeah.
And it's always kind of a secondary character having a marijuana problem.
Right,
Exactly.
exactly. And jumping out a window.
getting reefer madness and freaking out running into traffic. So I got to thinking about today's subject for our very special How to Heretic when I was waiting for a cab outside my apartment building here in Chinatown in Vancouver. So
Okay.
I looked down by the firefighters' hookup and saw a sign that said floors 4, 13, and 14 do not exist. I thought, that's damn peculiar. So, there is a strange penumbra that is kind of like an afterglow that sticks to many of us in and out of the religious universe. And no, I'm not talking once again about the stupid goddamned auras like I did in episode 96. This is something else. It's like auras in that it's not real and it's pretty silly, but it's very sticky nonetheless. Now, guys, today I want to talk about the subject of Stevie Wonder's 1972 smash hit single off the album Talking Book, which topped the Billboard Hot 100 and Rolling Stone ranked as number 74 on their list of the 500 greatest songs of all time, and in my humble opinion, one of the most fucking epic musical arrangements in all popular music, Superstition. Now,
love that song.
Can we just play the
Great
song,
song.
in its entirety
We
right now?
play the song.
Cannot. We
In its
do not
entirety.
we need about 20 more patrons before we can do that.
well, actually, we'll just play the whole album. Then they have to sue us per song. It'll be a whole paperwork mess. They don't want to do it. So more about that song and its startling relevance to today's subject in just a tick. So song aside, if we were to isolate superstition in general as a single belief system, it would be the largest religion in the world by far.
Oh, yeah.
For the obvious reason that it would be comprised of pretty much every single one of the world's religions and the vast majority of people who claim not to have one, ourselves included, as I will demonstrate. So be ready for that. So, what is superstition? How does Webster's dictionary define it? Well, it's one of those words that's as subjective as faith or belief or religion or cult. Every group defines it in their own image and in their own service, right?
Right.
So we atheists essentially ascribe all belief in the intangible and irrational as superstition. So that is therefore the correct definition, obviously. Where Mormons say it's everything Catholics do except for a little of the Jesus stuff. It's what Catholics have long said. It's what the Jews do, but they're doing better at not having that end in incinerating them in the town square these days. And
Progress.
It's progress, right? It's always moving forward. It's what the Jews say the Muslims do because It's what the Muslims say everybody else does who refuse to believe that Muhammad split the moon in half and flew away on a horse, or that once in your life you simply must go throw pebbles at an old stone column in the desert, and on and on and on. But perhaps the one common uniting factor we as human beings have is that we think everyone else is superstitious as fuck, and we are not. But
Right.
are we not? Or are we not?
Skun
In basically every dun dun dun. In basically every context, the word superstition is a slur or a pejorative. So religious believers who subscribe to high-minded theological concepts like grace or resurrection or redemption tend to consider trinkets against the evil eye, a silly thing Dan discussed in episode 62, even as some of them carry such a bauble in their pocket or around their necks out of habit, like a crucifix. So, as I mentioned before, non-believers tend to think of even the aforementioned high-minded theological concepts such as resurrection and redemption through ancient human sacrifice as nothing more than intellectual trinkets against the evil eye. And I think we all would probably tend to agree with that definition of the word. But at the root, all religious and or superstitious beliefs and actions are a form of both pareidolia, which Dan discussed in episode 20, which means projecting order or meaning where there is none, and more broadly, trying to fill a chaotic, uncaring natural world with some designed causality, because for many, the yawning terror of this tiny blue dot hurtling through the infinite vacuum of space around a dying star with no greater meaning is probably a little too much to bear. But for the sake of our chat...
I think it's fun. I really,
what? I think it's fantastic.
Really enjoy all that.
I do too. I think it's absolutely... And I'm not kidding. I think it's fucking fantastic.
Yeah. Just don't tell Doug about it. Doug's not dealing with it well with that. It was not.
He's got his lucky penny, so he's not worried. But for the sake of our chat, let's take superstition to mean something like the belief that certain actions and behaviors can affect outcomes of events one has no physical control over. This encompasses words like magic, fate, and luck. So I did the smartest possible thing. I asked Twitter, the best place to get real verifiable information, what kind of superstitions people still clung to even after leaving religion for a more rational method of living, and it's pretty funny / sad. We got stuff like holding your breath as you walk past graveyards. I'd never heard that before.
Oh, really?
I've heard that one.
Have you heard that one?
Yeah, I have.
The fear of the hoot of an owl near your home for fear it presaged death.
Well,
there was
one thing we have discovered here on the How to Heretic is that owls are particularly scary to Christians and Jews.
Yeah.
They are afraid of nothing more than exotic birds. There was a weird thing in Utah, of all places, about putting a rusty nail through a lemon to ward off the evil eye. Lemon, not native to Utah, but there you go.
I like it. I'm going to do it.
A very sad one about it being okay to wish well for other people, but never yourself because it would bring bad luck. No hats on beds, shoes pointing up or the luck would drain from them. And our friend, patron, and very real atheist, Cindy Lynch, represented all sports fans everywhere with a plethora of superstitions around how she might fuck up the game for her beloved Cubs if she isn't extremely careful.
Right.
So
that's vital. That is all absolutely straight down the middle stuff.
Right.
I don't know how anyone could say anything against it.
There probably is no one more superstitious than sports fans, especially if your team is really bad.
I don't know. We'll get to it, but you're talking to a theater guy. I can tell you the theater people are good at superstitions.
Really?
We'll get into that.
Were you ever in Macbeth?
Yeah. I've been. Well, hey, we're not in a theater. You can say it all you want. You say that in the theater, it's a different matter altogether.
Okay.
We are in the theater of the internet, Dan.
I've done Macbeth like 4 times.
All right.
Oh.
So this all leads me back to what I teased about how Stevie Wonder's Superstition as a song relates to what will now become the confessional part of this very special How to Heretic.
Oh boy.
While the song is crazy cool, my recent examination of the lyrics left me a little bit ponderous. So, for instance, the line, 13-month-old baby breaks the looking glass, is weird, but hits all the right notes of triskaidekaphobia and mirror magic. But the line, very superstitious, wash your face and hands, is a little less clear. Perhaps a healthy fear of very real germs is something Stevie thought was an absurd folk belief.
I didn't know that it was breaks the looking glass. I always wondered what was happening with that 13-month-old baby. I couldn't really understand.
Yeah, breaks the looking glass.
Okay,
breaks the mirror. So
I mean, I'm superstitious about babies like hurting themselves on broken glass. So. You know, in that sense, it feels pretty bad if you've got a baby wandering, toddling around near a broken mirror.
You're so superstitious you don't let babies crawl over glass. Weird.
I know.
Super weird.
I know.
But the odd lyricism of the 74th greatest song ever isn't the point I bring it up again. I bring it up because in the 70s and 80s, when this song was in constant rotation on the radio, I was not only an overly imaginative, very overly sensitive preteen and teen, but I was stuck, as you fellas might recall, in a suffocating religious community that was itself flailing in the stupid fever dream of the satanic panic, as we've discussed in episode 23. So when the lyric, very superstitious, the devil's on his way, came on, I was by then in a frantic state of panic, screaming for my older brothers to turn it off.
Wow.
The poisonous bullshit about the devil I was spoon-fed by my cave-dwelling family and my community, and triggered by this song kept me from sleeping on my back for a decade after I was fully realized as an atheist. Seriously, and that little anecdote, that comes from my insane aunt who would come down from Canada in her Winnebago and talk about how she fought with the devil every night when he was trying to crush her.
Oh, yeah.
So she had sleep paralysis, and she was a crazy person. So great. Work that out on your young relatives. It's a really cool thing to do. So in addition to nightly devil crushing, I carried a few things forward as superstitious that even if I don't observe them now, I think about in moments when I would have in the past. For instance, I used to be able to not stop reading a book on a page that ends with a 6 or a 3.
Oh, really?
Really?
My devil terror caused me to live in fear of the number 6. And when I attended a lecture at the university when I was 17, and I just remembered this by the fucking people who wrote Michelle Remembers, Lawrence Pastor and Michelle Smith.
Oh. Really?
Who are the architects of the Satanic Panic.
Right.
These people caused this to happen. And their whole thing was 3 a.m. was the most dangerous time for demonic activity because it was the witching hour.
Oh, my God.
If I ever woke up and saw the clock said 3:33 a.m., that was the most dangerous time, according to them. I was terrified.
Wow.
So-
Wait, now wouldn't you want to be awake during the most dangerous time? I mean,
You want to sleep through that. It's like people who are afraid of flying. You just go to sleep.
That's true.
And you deal with it.
and hope the flight attendants, unload you when you get
Right,
there.
yeah,
So-
exactly.
keep you from swallowing your tongue.
Speaking of Macbeth, that's where the phrase witching hour comes from. Anyway, go on.
Is it really?
Yeah.
How about that? So, dear uncles, I open the floor to discussion about what absurdities you and yours have carried over into intellectual adulthood from the long dark night under the steeple. I've said a few of mine. What do you guys still participate at all in superstitious activity?
I definitely have an anxiety about breaking mirrors.
Okay, interesting.
I've never gotten past that. Like, I know, it's ridiculous. And, 15 minutes after I've ever broken a mirror, I forgot about it.
Right.
I never, tried to calculate the bad luck that I've got to navigate. But in the age of smartphones, it's been particularly anxiety-inducing because I've broken my share of smartphones.
Oh, interesting.
Every time I do, I get a wave of anxiety about having basically broken a mirror.
How funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like I said, I'm from the theater world, and there's a lot of superstitions in the theater world.
Oh,
and
for sure.
What's funny is I don't believe in any of them. None of them affect me at all. But if you fucking say the word Macbeth in front of... If there's more than just me and you in the room in a theater, I'm going to make you go through the fucking ritual to take the curse off of it.
What's the
To
ritual?
cleanse the theater?
Well, I mean, it depends on who you ask to some extent, but you have to go outside of the theater. You have to swear. You swear a blue streak. You turn around 3 times. You spit, and then you ask to be let back into the theater. Something along those lines. Some combination or variant on that. Now, the reason that I do that is not because I care about it or that I'm worried that there's some curse on the theater, but other actual superstitious actors will get in their head about it, and they won't be able to do their fucking job.
Right.
So I don't ever say Macbeth in the theater because I'm not going to fuck with other people's brains.
The next show you're in,
Yeah.
I'm going to go there on opening night, and right when the lights dim and the orchestra starts to rise, I'm just going to scream from the audience, Macbeth!
Okay. I think that's a great idea. You are now kicked out of the family.
It's a weird way to die, but you do you.
I do like, some of the theater superstitions are actually kind of fun though. Like it is a very strong thing that you don't whistle backstage at a theater. Mm-hmm. And the ostensible reason for that goes back to when they were first doing scenery changes that would fly in and fly out. They had them rigged up on ropes, and they would pull, drop in a backdrop and then fly that one out and drop in another one. And the only people who were qualified to do that kind of rigging were sailors. And so they would hire sailors to do it, but then they would also these sailors would whistle to each other to indicate when they were going to when it was time.
The
to
cues.
raise
That's how the cues were done.
So if you were whistling backstage, you might cue a set to drop in that wasn't at the right time or whatever. So some of them have origins that make sense.
Right.
But
Yeah.
they don't make sense now.
Right. Well, I think
Other than if you whistle and it can be heard by the audience, that would be a bad thing.
right. Well, here's one. This is very strange, but if I'm looking down while I walk, I find myself making sure I take odd steps on single pieces of cement. So I have to. I'll catch myself now. Me in my 40s.
God, it's fucking exhausting to be you.
Just like taking short steps or long steps to
how
like
funny.
make it so every group of steps on a piece of pavement is odd.
That's
Not
funny.
even- I don't know where that comes from.
When I was a kid, there's that whole step on a crack, break your mother's back or whatever thing. So I started to avoid stepping on cracks, just sort of not because I believed it, just because you do it.
Yeah.
And then somehow, as a kid, something got into me that like I shouldn't be touching the ground when a car passed. So I would jump whenever a car passed me. So I'm like avoiding cracks and jumping as cars pass. It was just this weird thing. It wasn't ever a superstition that I nailed down as to why I was doing it or what I thought. Like I knew Mom's back was fine.
I would give anything to see a video of preteen Dan just walking down a busy street.
This is me realizing that I am in the podcast business with two insane people. This
was your fault.
I thought not stopping reading a book on a page that ended in 6 was insane. I'm not.
It is.
Even rate.
Oh no, it is.
Well,
Don't worry,
I'm not even coming in third here.
So here's the question then. If
Yeah.
we are, pattern-seeking animals, and we're obviously creatures of habit, we probably have, as a species, a proclivity towards, ritualistic behavior, right?
Absolutely.
So religion at some point discovered the power of worming its way into that part of your neuroses, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we as critters, like it's clear where a lot of this stuff comes from, right? Because there's this whole agency detection thing where if you see grass a ways from you parting,
Right.
you need to be scared because there may be a snake or some sort of critter in there that's going to get you.
If you're scared and there's nothing, you're fine. If you're scared and there's something, you might get away.
Right. And if you're not scared and there's something, you could get killed.
Right, exactly.
Could be a fucking chupacabra in there. You got to be ready for that.
And it's almost guaranteed to be a chupacabra.
Right. And it's always a chupacabra, guys. Come on. And there's kind of a chicken and egg thing though too. I think, Doug. It's like, well, sure, we have these impulses, and I think in its most cynically, yes, religion, learned how to take advantage of those impulses for whatever control, commodification, whatever. But really, we invented religion to fill the gap, to answer that pattern where there was none, right?
Sure.
And the need for causality in the human mind to see that there must be a reason for these things,
Right.
when there's not a reason for these things, right? Other than biology does what it does, nature does what it does, without any control.
I think you're just saying all of this because Mercury's no longer retrograde and you're feeling better about the world.
Thank you. Yes, I just had my chart done.
Well, what's truly insidious, though, is not just that, we've created some superstitions to explain the causality of things, but that we also we attach a consequence to it.
Yeah.
So if you don't do your ritual, something terrible will happen. And then we teach that to our children.
Yeah, it's a really fun trick that we do.
Do you know what I read too when I was researching this? Is that you become more dedicated to the superstitious, ritualistic behavior the less frequently it works. Does that make sense?
What?
So, it's a weird psychological issue where if you didn't, you didn't have your lucky penny or you had your lucky penny and this happened, well, you'd better make damn sure next time you have your lucky penny to prevent it happening again.
That's funny. Rather than looking at that penny and going, this doesn't work
Clearly
at all.
this thing is
Exactly.
pointless.
So it's why people that have superstitions about their sports teams, I mean, I don't know which are the bad baseball teams other than the fucking Salt Lake Bees who lose every game and still have fireworks 3 blocks from my house. But the worse your team is, the more intensely superstitious people are about it.
That's so
and
strange.
it's a really weird negative feedback situation, but it's apparently a fully recorded psychological phenomenon in
yeah,
people, so.
I mean, it's the same with the conspiracy theories, right? Everything that's every bit of information that's counter to confirming it confirms it.
Right.
Well, yeah, and that's so crazy. Every time, all across America, every night there's a football game. They all pray to win. One team loses every night, right? But
Still
they all
George
continue to
Carlin.
do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I guess are there superstitions that can be positive?
All of them?
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
there was also something really interesting in the reading that performers or athletes, kind of goes to what Dan was saying about people not being able to perform on stage. If someone says Macbeth, they'll just get too fucked in the head about it. Is if you're going into a performance and you have a few rituals you do beforehand, there is actually a calming and centering effect that happens.
Right.
Right. You're using these weird things to kind of get in a headspace where you are able to perform your duty, right? Your job, or your run your race, or whatever it is you do. And it's not that putting the left shoe on before the right shoe is effective, with the trickster gods and the gremlins of the universe. It's that it calms you. You go through a series of things that get you ready for that space.
There's a lot of evidence that ritual can be useful in the world, and that ritual can be helpful for calming and centering your mind, all that sort of thing.
but we're drawing a line between ritual and superstition, right? A ritual is just a habit,
right?
and a superstition is a belief.
I think there's a lot of overlap for sure. But one place where superstition is incredibly harmful is black cats, right?
Yeah.
Black cats
right.
tend to be abandoned, mutilated, abused, far more than other animals because of the stupid fucking superstition, right?
So people go out there and abuse a white cat every now and then. That's what we're saying.
Well, what Dan is saying is he doesn't see cat race.
That's right.
But
exactly.
He wants the abuse he doesn't want the abuse to stop. He just wants it spread around, and I think that's fair. So I think in conclusion, I would admonish ourselves and our listeners just to, for fun, get in the habit of kind of breaking your superstition once in a while, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just get it out of your head, because it's just, what's the point? It's so, unless you're just doing it for fun, like I think putting on a certain pair of socks the day your team plays is kind of funny, but the rest of it's just stupid.
But
if
it starts to gain any control over your brain, if you start to feel really bad, if you don't do
or
your
anxious.
Superstitions,
Yeah.
then it's time to start challenging them, because what you don't want is for some stupid belief that you were just playing around with before to suddenly gain any control over your actual life and behaviors.
That's right,
Doug.
And they can be very controlling. I mean, the reason there are not those floors in my apartment building, and it's such a serious issue that there has to be a sign for the firefighters to not try to find the 13th floor
right
when they're fighting a fire, is because of bad luck. And because I live in Chinatown, the 4 and the 14, 4 is bad luck in China.
Right.
So my building's really fucking 3 stories tall, I guess, but because of all the bad luck associated with every culture who lives here. So it's goofy. It's ridiculous.
And then
Knock it off.
Donald Trump takes all those imaginary floors and adds them to his buildings.
That's right.
That's right. The tallest ever. So there it is. That's superstition.
Well, nothing but even steps for me from now on.
Yeah, exactly. Knock on wood. Hopefully we'll all get over our superstitions.
Exactly. Let's move on.
Gentlemen,
hello.
As we need to talk about something. We need to acknowledge that we don't do this just for play.
No,
the shits and the giggles come free, but that's not why we're doing it.
Right.
Yeah, it's not cheap to download a Stevie Wonder hit from 1972. It's not. And
which is why we haven't done it.
Right.
But it's also, we do this, and the people sometimes value it, and they give us money, and that is amazing. And we wanted to thank a few people this week. So this week's big winners of our gratitude are, in no particular order, John, Aaron, Glenn and Peter.
Yay. Solid Bible name. Solid
Yeah,
Bible
right?
name.
Yeah, for the most part. Thank you guys so much. Tell us, what have these people done, Uncle Mark? What's happening here?
These fine people have done what all fine people must do.
If they really want to be considered fine. Absolutely.
In these trying times, is you go to the How to Heretic website, you hit the Support Us tab, you go directly to Patreon, takes a couple minutes, you put in all the money you can possibly afford and more you can't, and you
It's
support.
seed money.
It's seed money. It's going to come back to you in the 7 mountains of the full dispensation. So
it comes back tenfold, I am told. Now,
Yes.
I have it on good authority that several of our good donating listeners are now wealthy because of their donations to our show.
that's right.
And
Their
only
dollar
because.
turned into 10. It's amazing how rich they
It's how
became.
it's how it works.
So $2 a week gets you early access. Why not?
Did
be
we
a
just
Monday
invent prosperity podcasting? Because this is genius.
person? We've done it.
I didn't realize we were going to do it, but boy, that's the ticket, fellas.
Joe Rogan, look out. So if you can or if you can't do that, and we'd appreciate it if you can, give us 5-star reviews somewhere. Doug's a lonely guy and he doesn't have a lot to do, so fill his days with that much activity.
It's got real personal, real fast.
Kind of refreshing the iTunes page to take another look. So do that for Doug.
Uncle
The money's
Mark.
for me and Dan. The stars
Fuck
are
you.
for Doug. And let's move on. Well, Uncle Doug,
Yo.
I think that sometimes I can be an asshole.
I second the motion.
And we're done.
I feel like we're
Thanks,
done
everybody. Let's move along.
Yeah. Now the listeners don't know that, and some of our very favorite celebrity listeners, whose names we will not mention. We have several. I don't want to drop too many names, but Chris Angel, of course, is a big fan of the
He's
show.
a huge fan of the show.
But he's not an asshole. But there are men out there who are arseholes and can be arseholes.
Yes. Well, in point of fact, we can all be assholes.
You bet.
If we work hard enough, I think we can get to that lofty goal
As-
of
as-
all being assholes.
As all of our middle school gym teachers told us, they are like excuses.
That's right.
Everybody
Has one.
keeps doing it.
Yes.
Gym teacher was focused on your asshole to a weird degree.
He really was. He was a man of unique focus.
He's dead now.
We're going to leave it at that.
I don't find it weird. Anyway, yes, as you guys are hinting at, I'm gonna use a phrase that is going to make several of our listeners scream out loud.
All right.
Which is toxic masculinity. I don't know if you guys don't have the internet, so I'm sure you've never heard this phrase before.
Yeah.
But it is a popular phrase these days out there in the world.
Yeah.
Obviously propagated by man-hating feminists who just want to ruin everything about men and
Boo.
and take over the world.
Boo women who don't know their place.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Well, it turns out that actually it's a real thing, and it's really it's something we need to be talking about. So I thought we'd just dip our toes.
Yeah.
We're not gonna fix masculinity forever on this segment. That'll be the next one. When we do this,
For the next one.
part 2 we fix it forever, but part 1 we're just gonna sort of take our first steps, tentative steps, into the waters of saying that it's possible that men in this world, especially if they were raised in a religion, might not be always perfect.
It's a bold statement.
It is a bold statement. Of course, a lot of guys who have objections, who hate the phrase toxic masculinity, hate it because there's this sense that if you say that phrase, you mean all masculinity is toxic. And
Right, that the very idea of being masculine, let's say in the binary versus feminine, is a bad thing.
Right, yes. And that somehow we all have to abandon all forms of masculinity forever and all walk around as little ladyboys.
Right.
I don't hate that, but let's continue.
Sure. That is not what we are going to take on as our working premise for this segment. but rather we'll talk about what forms of masculinity are useful, maybe, but also what forms of what we've learned. And I think we can safely say a lot of this we learned largely from our religious upbringings.
Yeah.
It's inextricably linked to religion, and that's part of why I wanted to talk about it. Because as you're raised in Christianity, in Mormonism as we were, in all, especially in evangelicalism, there's this sense that you have to have this binary, very polarized sense of what gender means.
And I think that extends past the confines of the Christian world.
Yeah.
It might be one of the few things that all religions have in common.
I was just racking my brain to think of one where that is not the
Wicca.
case. Wicca, yeah. There's probably toxic.
No.
There's probably dicks in Wicca, but Wicca dicks.
Wicca dicks.
Dicks in Wicca.
If you're a Wicca dick, get out of here.
Hashtag Wicca dick.
But other than the religion on the island that Wonder Woman came from,
Which conveniently didn't have men to contend with.
right? I can't think of a single one where patriarchal behavior and assumptions are not kind of de rigueur.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Certainly not among the prominent world religions.
Right.
6.8 billion of the 7 billion of us belong to a religion where this is a problem.
Right, indeed.
Now, the Queen of England is the head of the Church of England, which you would think that's not. But it was founded on one of the greatest acts of toxic masculinity
yes,
ever.
indeed.
Multiple beheadings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty impressive.
So checkmate, Elizabeth.
and she's really just a figurehead.
She's a huge fan.
Now, remember, she can move in any direction. So you got to make damn sure you've checked her.
She is a fan of the show, though, so sorry, Liz. It's fine. Anyway, so here's what I want to start with, is this idea of toxicity in masculinity. It's what is it? Let's just sort of start.
How does Webster's define it?
Webster's dictionary. This is not a Mormon talk. I will not be starting with that. I went to a different dictionary. So let's talk about a few of the sort of hallmark problems that men face, especially in modern society, that become problematic in masculinity. And again, gentlemen listening at home, this does not mean that you're a bad person. We're not talking about all men are bad, but we have some issues, and they're kind of things, they're wounds that were inflicted on us that we then sort of carry forward, and we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
So the first sort of root problem in masculinity, the thing that causes toxicity, is repression of feelings. Sadness, fear, insecurity, all of these things, we were trained from boyhood not to express, but rather to internalize our feelings and keep them to the side. I mean, boys don't cry.
But that's in the binary context of men are steely-eyed providers,
right?
And women are weepy kitchen workers,
right? Yeah,
kitchen.
Sorry, that was kind of how we were raised,
Right?
Yeah.
We were raised in a very 1950s Americana sensibility.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, even people who have left their religion and sort of ditched out on a lot of the bad ideas of their religion, still, when their boy falls off of his bike, encourage him not to cry about it. Encourage him to toughen up. Hey, you can take this. You can handle it. You're all right.
Yeah.
As opposed to, you got hurt. Let me nurture you. Let me hold you. Let me cuddle you.
And it's okay to be upset about getting hurt.
And you can cry.
Right.
Yeah.
This happens constantly now, and in context, and I think it's almost knee jerk at this point. It's how we were trained, it's how we were raised.
Our dad used to beat us when we got hurt.
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
True.
The beating was worse than getting hurt.
That's
so
right.
you just never reveal that you're in pain.
Exactly.
Right. And it doesn't have to be that extreme.
And I'm fine.
You're right.
I'm good.
Right. Mark is now crying and sitting in the corner, keeping his feelings
But
appropriately
it's true.
to himself.
That's how we were taught
Yep.
to deal with.
But it doesn't have to be that overt.
Right.
I mean, I was doing in my research. I was doing. I saw one researcher who was saying that, girls learn, and femininity in Christianity is a whole other kettle of worms.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about this because I think it's important that men hear from other men on this subject.
Right.
But girls sort of really learn their most wounding lessons about how they're not supposed to talk, how they're not valued and stuff. Somewhere around, in the years around 10 to 14 years old. Boys learn this lesson closer to 5.
Really?
That's when the wound in boys is actually internalized.
So it's actually much more deeply embedded.
I don't know if it's more deeply embedded, but it happens so much earlier. Mm-hmm. And
I would hesitate to speak for the female experience in that context.
Right.
But I don't have memories of being nurtured and then taught to be. So I'm agreeing. I don't have a memory of not being told to suck it up.
Right.
And be a man.
Right. And what this leaves us with is an inability to express in healthy ways our emotions, to reach out for help,
right?
Which is something all humans need. Like, humans do so much better when we engage with each other rather than stick to ourselves. It's just a fact of human psychology. So we end up and then we end up as men, we use women. So straight men especially use their women as their emotional crutch, as their only emotional outlet, because they know they can't go to other men for help. So, if God forbid their father dies or their mother dies, something very important happens to them, they either have no one to go to, or they just heap it entirely on their spouse, and that poor woman just has to take it all in, even if she's got her own feelings.
And her training typically has been that she has to do that.
Right.
So because these dysfunctional relationships go on for decades.
Right.
And till death, oftentimes.
Yes. Okay. So boys don't cry, be a man, all that stuff. It's that's the first sort of damage. That's where this comes from. Ironically, so then there's this. So when you can't express your pain, your frustration, your sorrow, what ends up happening is that it all turns into anger. Because that's the one negative emotion that men are allowed to express. Mm-hmm. And suddenly, if someone hurts your feelings, you lash out. If you experience sorrow, you lash out. If you didn't get the job, you lash out, and it becomes this expression. The only expression that's available to these men is anger, and that ends up being, then someone gets hit, or someone violence ends up being often.
Or even sometimes even worse is this constant fear of the hit.
Yeah.
Living in a state, which we definitely grew up in this world, living in a state of potential explosion at any time, and the toxicity, that fear that people live in around angry, dangerous people,
right,
it's hell on earth.
And
it's
violence,
a terrible world to live in.
And violence doesn't have to be physical to be every bit as damaging.
Right.
Violence can be emotional violence. It can be verbal violence, and that can have just as much of a damaging effect on the people around you as physical violence. So we don't need. So it's you're not off the hook just because you don't punch somebody.
It's a good place to start.
It's a good place to don't punch somebody.
It's called harm reduction. Let's start with that.
And
work backwards.
But also just know that, like, when people are living in fear of you just blowing up at them,
it's terror. You terrorize.
They're still living in that same headspace.
In the modern professional world, you can lose your job for creating a hostile work environment. But,
right.
How many millions of people live in that household environment every day?
Yeah, exactly.
I would say a lot.
Yeah.
I would say it's a huge percentage of people. Now, we also had a crazy – our mother was also bananas, and she was very dangerous. But we, above her was this massively powerful masculine force that could, go off at any second.
Right.
And we lived in constant fear of that.
Yeah. So, So obviously, this is a problem that sort of pervades every part of your life. If this is something that you don't deal with in a healthy way, and as you say, Doug, it's not just your home life. If you are exhibiting these, if you're unable to deal with your emotions in a healthy way,
right,
these anger problems will come out in your work. They will come out everywhere.
In your personal friendships and of course.
Exactly.
With strangers on the street, road rage and bizarre bizarre explosions of anger in public.
You'll start harassing a stranger who, acts in a way that you don't understand.
All he's trying to do is play his drum on the mall, and you're going to stand in his face with a fucking hat on.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I'm not over that.
So then there's this sense, and this is something that is taught. It's funny. I went to some very ugly parts of the web that purport to be. Here's the thing. I think everybody understands that there's a problem with masculinity right now. The real issue is that the biggest people who are providing what they're calling solutions to this are Christians who are like all about manliness and masculinity.
Reinforcing the whole idea.
Reinforcing everything that's wrong. Everything, like basically saying that this is, and so it becomes about, living a life that is dominant and strong and being an alpha and never being a beta. Like, why would you be a beta? Then you're not a real man.
Cuck.
And yeah, exactly. All of this sort of thing, it's all about denying your emotions, and they've got all these things about, the 3 P's of masculinity, protection, provision, and I don't remember what the other one is, but it's like, it's you protect your
Petticoats.
family. Yeah, exactly. You protect your family and you provide for your family, and those are your jobs.
Right.
And God forbid your wife does better than you in the workforce.
Well, and see, I'm sure you're going to talk about this, but I think the through thread through all of it, and I'm sure that's where we're heading, is it's the objectification of women, the subjugation and objectification of women, along with these toxic, ideas about emotions.
Right, because they're not your equal. They're not someone.
No.
They're certainly not your equal.
No,
they are this entirely other species.
Right,
they are your pet. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're
your property.
That you're charged with keeping safe, and that
Right.
you're charged with sort of exerting your dominance over.
Yeah.
Just like you're supposed to exert your dominance over everybody.
And it's as if, this ignoring the fact that society has fucking improved since cave times.
Yes, but here's the fucking thing, and this is the problem with everything we've been talking about, and it's the mission of this podcast is we might have improved, but we're still using the textbooks from the Stone Age.
Right.
That have those attitudes about women that you've got to turn them out when they're on their period.
Right, yeah, exactly. Well, I must correct you. Some of it's from the Stone Age, but some of it is good Bronze Age stuff. So
it's pretty advanced thinking.
I just want to,
This is where we get insects have 4 legs. Let's not trifle with the science of the Bible.
And bird bats.
But society has improved so much, I think. And so, we aren't in the caves anymore. And by the way, when we were in the caves, we lived in these incredibly communal societies where everybody helped rear children. Everybody helped with everything.
Yeah.
So get over this fucking primitive shit, like this protection.
Well, and it becomes this thing about like competition is so important and so great. And, if you're not teaching your boys how to compete, how to be the best, how to be great, then what are you even teaching them?
Right.
And and what they're not like taking into one of the things that we're learning as we actually like deign to let women into the workforce and whatever is that guess what? Collaboration is way better than competition in terms of getting good results in the world.
Yeah.
Like listening to another doubles the number of brains that are going into this thing.
A friend of mine has a great saying where intelligence is spread out equally, one brain per person. And that is regardless of gender.
Yeah.
The more brains, the better.
Right.
I work in a creative field that is incredibly collaborative.
Yeah.
It's incredibly collaborative, and I'm surrounded by all these big brains in every sort of person, and everybody gets to throw shit at the wall, and it's fantastic. It's a fantastic creative experience, and the output is unbelievable.
And the further you walk away from that, the more top down you get. The more fucking patriarchal. I mean, you look at the Mormon Church or whatever.
Yeah,
they're not creating anything of any value because one guy at the top gets to say who does what, and the guys below him get to sort of make edicts that everyone has to listen to. It's I was listening to a podcast, one of these good masculinity podcasts or whatever. Don't do that. Do not listen to these guys. There's so many popping up everywhere. There's the Tribe of Kings is here in Utah. Have you seen the billboard for that on I-15?
No.
Spelled with a Y somewhere in there. I'm not sure if it's Tribe or Kings that has the Y, but it's. I mean, this is supposed to be like we're reclaiming our manhood, and they
probably just misspelled it.
I was listening to this guy talking about how he goes to the gym. You got to keep in shape. You got to go to the gym, and he goes to the gym, and you got to be the best at what you're doing. Every time I go to the gym, I'm trying for a personal best on everything that I'm doing, AKA. I am setting myself up for a failure every time I'm running away from failure. And I think that's the big thing is that men are terrified of failing. And they're told that any failure is a collapse of their manhood. So it creates, far from these guys becoming the strong, independent men that they pretend that they're being, they are the most fragile, breakable,
right?
Like anything that even like they're mad. This sense of masculinity is so easily assaulted.
Are you saying that Donald Trump is insecure?
Whoa, calm it down. I haven't gone individual. There are certain men who are gods among men.
Yeah, seriously. But we don't even say his name on this broadcast because he's too masculine.
DJT.
But these guys who, but you get these men who are trying so they have to be, whatever you do. I don't care if you're, a garbage man. Be the best garbage man out there. Why? Why do you have to be the best at anything? Why can't you just be happily good? Or
can't you take pleasure in what life delivers daily?
This
and
journey that you're on.
And it's great self-improvement is a wonderful thing.
Sure. Ambition's not bad and self-improvement's good. Yeah. And I kind of hear that people be the best you can be. Don't be that there's nothing wrong with that per se. I think it's the zero-sum nature of it.
Yeah.
That in order for me to win, someone else must lose.
Right.
And that, I can't just be happy with myself. I can't be proud of myself. Someone else has to be put down a peg.
Well, but also there is no space in this conversation for I'm going to just be okay with right now, with what I am right now.
Right.
I don't want to improve. I don't need to be any better at this right now. I'm just okay.
I can tell you there's a name for that, and it's middle age.
Right.
You're just like, yeah, fuck it.
I've gotten as good as I'm
not only doing
get.
a personal best at the gym, I don't have a gym membership.
Well, here's what I'm saying. Here's what's interesting about that is that men, right, and there are studies about this. Right now, men who are in their middle age are committing suicide at ridiculous rates and are the loneliest people in our society. They don't have friends. All of their friends go through their wives. So the ones who end up breaking up with their wives suddenly don't have friends anymore because men don't know how to have friendships with each other if it's not golf-based, if it's not sports-based
or work-based,
interest-based or work-based,
right,
or through their wives. They do not know how to do it.
And that's particularly guys in my age group.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
what is it about? Well, what is it?
Well, the problem is that all of this training, all of this toxicity, it's not just about how you're toxic to other people. You haven't trained yourself to connect with other humans. Mm-hmm. You've trained yourself to connect with one other human, a wife.
Yeah.
And then you're fucked. If that thing goes away, you got nothing. You don't know how to express emotion. You don't know how to hear emotion. You don't know how to nurture. You don't know how to be nurtured. None of that are skills that you have.
Well,
So
I myself, and this is just having been raised religious and raised in that environment, I am very uncomfortable with male-to-male intimacy, same gender-biased intimacy.
Yeah.
You know?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Weirded out by it.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So when I'm like, I'm struggling with something, and
That's why you
sometimes,
never
like,
call me back. Is that it?
That's right.
Okay.
I mean, and here's and maybe that's a good thing to point out, is that this is something that I experience. This is something that you, Doug, experience. I mean, you, Mark, basically, you're gay. You basically don't qualify as a man.
No, but let me tell you,
But-
it is a tremendous problem. Masculinity as a construct is a tremendous problem in the gay community.
That's right.
Especially in the cis white male gay community. Feminine men that appear feminine or present as feminine are often looked down upon
by other gays.
There's bottom shaming, feminine shaming by other gays. It's actually, I would say, it's as big a problem in the cis white gay community as it is in the straight community.
Absolutely. Well, think about it. When every epithet that you're terrified of,
Yeah.
even if it's not about, because, when you're in elementary school, nobody's calling anybody a fag because they're worried about the person's actual sexuality.
Right. It just means you're woman-like.
It means you're not man enough.
Right.
And so, yeah, if you cry on the playground, you're gay, you're queer, you're fag.
That's so gay.
Whatever. And so, of course, when you're actually gay,
Yeah.
you're going to try to rebel against all of those feminine, quote unquote, feminine traits.
Yeah.
So that you don't so that you're not like making it, it's not a foregone conclusion or whatever.
It's very common, and I'm sure I was very guilty of it. And, I didn't really come out of the closet till my 20s, that I definitely, tried to butch up or at least just pass. I don't present as a very feminine guy. I don't think you guys think. But
honestly, if you put the two of us into a room and said which one's the gay one, I think it would be probably a 50-50 split.
Right.
Right. Because you read very, very straight,
and you have a very nice collection of shoes.
I do. I have
3 pairs of shoes.
I have an overlarge collection.
I'm the gay guy with 3 pairs of shoes. But back to the subject, it is really an ugly thing that we've been handed as men in society, and it's a trauma that we suffered.
Yeah.
And then we continue to perpetuate within ourselves.
Yeah.
And then we pass on to our sons.
Yeah.
And make it shitty for other people to be around us.
And the last thing I want to be thought of as saying is it's hard to be a straight white man in America. But this is programming.
Yeah.
And you don't deprogram unless you address it directly.
So I think what we need to be saying here, I think what we're saying is just look inward. Guys, fellas, look inward. When you find yourself feeling uncomfortable with men who are affectionate with each other, ask yourself some questions about that. Yeah. When you find yourself if you hear me say you should be able to go to your male friends and tell them your feelings, and that feels impossible to you, ask yourself some questions about that.
Yeah,
ask your male friends some questions about that.
Deconstruct those feelings that you've taken for granted forever, like when anger sneaks up on you.
Yeah.
Ask yourself why you're actually angry. I mean, this is good training. Just ask yourself why you're actually angry.
Right.
Where is it coming from?
Yeah.
And is it a mask for a different feeling?
Right.
Are you feeling pain and sadness, and you're just not addressing pain and sadness? You're aggressing anger instead. And then, these are things. I'm not asking you to jump to the end of the, this is a process. You don't just go to your male friend and start spooning right away. But just ask the questions.
I don't know. See how he reacts.
Sure. I mean, if he's into it,
that's how I met my husband.
Green light. That's fine.
No, but I like I said, I have trouble with intimacy with other males.
I'm going to hug you so long after this.
But I know that I have that, and I don't expect to ever really get over that entirely. I mean, I that's a struggle I have, but I wouldn't be surprised if in my 80s I still have anxiety about it. This was programmed in me at a fundamental level.
Right. Like I say, this started when we were 0.
Yeah.
But we can start unpacking it.
Oh, it's not not worth the struggle.
Right. And we and you know, this is the conversation that needs to be happening, because these are the wounds that these young boys, that we all as young boys received, that have led to all of these assholes that have created the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement is not about women, it is about toxic, bad men. Right. And it is about men who can't control themselves, and it's about men...
Or don't even try.
Or just their presumptions about the world is that they're doing nothing wrong.
Right.
Right. They can't even believe that they're doing something
I have
wrong.
a friend, a woman who went on a Tinder date recently with a guy who was nice. The entire night, she had a great time. She had a little too much to drink, said, I need to get home, but I can't drive. He was like, well... He managed to get her back to his hotel room. He said, I'll drive your car to my hotel. We can just have some water there, and then you can sober up. And this nice guy, who I don't believe thinks he did anything wrong, she continually said, no, I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to do it. He pressured her into a whole litany of things that she didn't want to do. She finally extracted herself from the situation, and he just said, and like basically he sexually assaulted her. And then the next day sent her a, hey, what's up message.
Yeah, because he didn't think he was doing anything wrong.
He had no idea.
Yeah.
He had sexually assaulted a woman and thought that it was just okay behavior. That's where we're at.
Right. So think about what I do this all the time myself. What is my motivation for behaving this way?
Yeah.
Why am I really mad right now? Am I really mad at my husband, who I love deeply and who cares about me so much, or am I mad about something that's not even in his control? Right. And so, as our sponsor G.I. Joe says, knowing is half the battle.
Yes, indeed. And maybe we should just so that's a great point to leave it.
The G.I. Joe dismount.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, that's a standard thing.
Because G.I. Joe has nothing to do with shitty masculine in this country.
There's a lady G.I. Joe. I saw it.
We need a new sponsor.
I masturbated to it once.
Oh my God. Okay, and with that, we move on.
Well, friends, that is it for this week's show.
Hey, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email, howto@howtoheretic.com.
Or if you're also into a fast tit, you can tell us about it at our voicemail, which is 903-88-HOW-TO, which is 903-884-6986. Also, you can yell at me about gazelle boobs on Twitter at HowToHeretic.
And thanks to our awesome patrons.
And thanks to Cody Layton for editing the show.
And thank all of you for tuning in.
Bye, friends.
Bye-bye.